My traumatic experience that happened on October 29th of 2012. My life had been changed ever since I started that day. I had I was on my way to go hunting, and I had went hunting, and I was carrying a muzzleloader, and I was on a four-wheeler, and I was walking to the deer stand, and I got up in the deer stand, and then I stayed there for about 4 hours, and then nothing showed up. So then I decided to get down and come home. And when I got to my four-wheeler, I got on my four-wheeler and I put my gun over my shoulder on my right side with the arm strap, and I started heading down the hill, and I got to the first gate, and I got off and I shut the gate, and then I got back on the four-wheeler to start going home again. And as I was driving, that gun started to irritate me, so I decided to get the gun and put it across my chest with the arm band that was on the gun as I was driving. And when I started to do that, I lost control of the four-wheeler, and when I got back to the four-wheeler, I grabbed the handlebars and I jerked them really hard to the left. And when I did that, I got up on the side of a gravel bank on a dirt road, and then when I got on the side of the gravel bank, I tried to overcorrect, and I grabbed the handlebars and I jerked it hard to the right, and it caused the four-wheeler to flip over in the air. And then when it flipped over in the air, the four-wheeler was laying straight on top of me, and the leg peg of the four-wheeler had jabbed into my left thigh and was stuck into my left thigh, and the handlebars were on my chest, and the weight of the four-wheeler was just on my chest, and it was making me start to lose my breath. And so when I started to lose my breath, I figured I needed to try and figure out how to get the four-wheeler off of me. So I tried to push it off of me. But when I did that, it started moving the peg around in my thigh, and it was just like excruciating pain. And then I was just laying there, and I left my phone at the house because I didn't figure I needed it, and the one time that I do need it, I didn't have it, and so I had no way to contact anybody or anything else. So I was just laying there and just didn't know how I was going to get home or anything. And then all of a sudden, it just felt like somebody had just lifted the four-wheeler off of me and taken it out of my leg, and I didn't feel any pain at all, and it just felt like somebody had just lifted it, or something had just lifted it off of me and laid it on that side. And so when that happened, I decided that I needed to get up and find the gun. So when I got up and found the gun, I decided to I couldn't walk to the house because it was over 2 miles. So I decided I had to flip the four-wheeler back over and then start trying to get it to start. And so with a 4-inch gash in my leg and a broken hip, I had I had to flip the four-wheeler over, and when I did flip the four-wheeler over, I got back on it and got on it and started the four-wheeler, and it started with no problem. Like, there was nothing wrong with the four-wheeler at all. And so when I got on the four-wheeler, I started going, and there was 3 more gates that I had to go through, so I had to go through 3 gates that I had to get off the four-wheeler and close the gate and lock it back. And when I got to the house, I had started to get real hot and sweaty, and so I decided to take some of my clothes off that I had on from hunting. And when I did that, I got home and I took some clothes off that I had on, and I sat down on the couch. And then when my grandparents got there, my grandma was worried that I was starting to go into shock, so she was throwing blankets and jackets and covers all over me, trying to make me not go into shock. And so finally they decided that I needed to go to the emergency room because I couldn't hardly walk. And so then I had to go to the emergency room, and they told me that I had broken my left hip in 2 or 3 places, and I had a 4.5-inch gash in my leg from when the foot peg of the four-wheeler had jabbed into my leg when it flipped over on top of me. And that's how my traumatic experience that happened on October 29th of 2012. How long was that?